Greetings, creative writers. This is your instructor. I just want to say hello, make a video, and talk about the first kind of larger essay and or the larger story and a few things like that. So, very generally, I would say with the stories that you're going to be creating, they're going to be pretty open in a lot of cases to your kind of developing plots, developing kind of scenarios. But I think there are a few things that I've run into in the past that I would kind of steer you away from. So I did change the focus of the first story a little bit. I want you to tell a story, but really I want you to focus on details. And so what that means for me is when I'm grading it and giving you feedback, I'm going to be looking at the details you use and kind of the vividness of things as they explore. So you don't have to have like great story arcs or anything for this one, because I'm interested in the world you're building and the detail of it. A few things I would say about kind of projects in the class. One, stick around 5 to 7 pages for things and you should be fine. After 5 to 7, things start to get unwieldy, and there's 20 some odd of us in the class, so that it's hard to give a lot of feedback on it. You may also note that a lot of times what I do is I give you a lot of feedback on the first couple of pages of a story and don't give you a ton on the back couple of pages. That is purely because I'm establishing a pattern of feedback, not to suggest that I didn't read the last parts. This is something that I think folks got a little confused about last semester. They would say, I got a lot of feedback on the first 2 pages, but then after that, on the third and fourth, I didn't get any. Well, the point is I noticed a lot of things at the beginning, and it's up to you to kind of take those things and retool the other parts. And again, a lot of this is for thinking about the portfolio down the road at the end. So yeah, keep that in mind. 5 to 7 pages, probably good. As far as content and what you can cover, I'm pretty open and I'm pretty willing to negotiate. But a few things to keep in mind. You want to walk before you run in this class. So I need to be able to see very straightforward, very realistic, kind of naturalistic depictions of things, especially in the first few projects. In other versions of the course, I've had people, and the first thing they give me is they turn something into me that's like 8 pages of basically Lord of the Rings type work. There's nothing wrong with that. However, it is very hard from an instructional perspective to give someone feedback on something like that, because if you're building such an abstract world, there's so much effort that goes into that I kind of have to set aside giving you feedback on what I want to give you feedback on and focus on all these other things. Also, be very, very careful about giving me something that is a smaller portion of some massive work. The reason for this is you will often find that, or I often find that when I read stuff like that, I'm struggling to know what's going on. I don't understand this world. I don't know the rules. I don't know the parameters. I've read stories about knights and kings and queens that take places in fictional universes, and if I don't really know the fictional universe, then how am I going to understand the knights and the queens and the kings and the dragons and all that sort of stuff? So I would say, especially for the beginning, play it pretty safe and try to stick to sort of realistic, naturalistic storylines and plots and things like that, just so that we can establish some rapport and establish some back and forth feedback. Yeah. So with the first essay, what I'm asking and what I've changed it to is really you're just telling a story. Just telling a story, and you're focusing on detail. You can pick the plot. You can set it however. It can do whatever you want. But when I'm looking at it, I'm going to be looking at the detail. So, it probably would be useful to you to set it in a place where there is detail to be told and sort of things to be expounded upon. Oftentimes, the class is kind of broken down into these larger projects into inviting you to think about a variety or various sort of aspects of writing. And what that really signifies is the types of stuff I'm going to be looking at to give you feedback on. Keep in mind that I'm not grading you on whether or not your story is good, or whether or not it's like, I would enjoy reading this story as like literature. I'm looking at sort of how does it do what it needs to do? Is there stuff to give you feedback on? Does it look like you put effort into it? If it doesn't look like you put effort into stuff, that's going to cause issues. I had folks last semester who would turn in consistently like a paragraph, and that's just not going to quite work, right? Because I don't have enough to say. But most people, I think, can do well in this class. You will be successful in this course if you do the work, you get feedback, and at the end of the course, you redo and you submit a portfolio of your best work. If you will not do well in this class if you don't turn work in. You got to turn work in. I got to get the work turned in so I can give you feedback, because otherwise I can't give you feedback. But I think otherwise, you'll do well. So with this first project, focus on the details. Focus on telling a story and using details to do that. Otherwise, I think you'll really kind of have a lot of freedom, which is dangerous. So what I'm going to be putting up as well is another announcement page that lists a variety of plots, a variety of subject matter that you could focus on to kind of give you, some options. But that'll be in the announcements. So otherwise, have a nice week. Enjoy writing this paper, and I will enjoy reading it. Have a good one.